Okay, so today is the Thursday of the championship weekend in the NFL. We have, excluding the Pro Bowl, which I don't even know if they're playing it this year, because I think I heard they were doing something completely differently. We have 3 games left. NFC Championship, AFC Championship, Super Bowl. So, excuse me. I'm going to do like a quick recap, the divisional round, make my picks for the championship games. Not going to do a Super Bowl pick yet, because we don't have the 2 teams yet, and I'm not going to do my NFL honors picks. I'll probably just do that since it is the night before the Super Bowl. I'll probably do a video where here's every category, here is my pick for that category, and then here is my Super Bowl pick. Here's my pick for who's going to be Super Bowl MVP, which is probably just going to be the winning quarterback. Let's be honest, that's normally how it goes, but here we are. So last week for the wild card round, I went 5-1. This week, I went 2-2, so overall for the playoffs, 7-3. I'll take it. So looking at the first games, Jaguars at the Chiefs. Travis Kelce is a fucking monster, man. I mean, I feel like if you watch football regularly, that is something that you know, but it's, like, I was watching something the other day, and it's like, do you think the Jags knew that they had to cover Travis Kelce? You would think that was like the number one thing, like they circled it several times, started on their sheets, and they still forgot to do it because this man was like wide open the entire game. He was killing them. And I think his name is Isaiah, but that Pacheco player, the running back for the Chiefs, it seemed like he was like consistently making big plays. Like that drive when Mahomes got injured, what's his name? Henne. When Chad Henne had to come in, he was like really doing well on that drive. The Jags felt like, they were hanging around the entire game like I thought they would. It was not a 10 to 14 point game at the by the final score, but within the fourth quarter, it was a 10-point game. I was like, man, I was that close to like picking the difference in the game. Like, holy shit. They were able to hang around. A lot of that was because of the Mahomes injury, so the Chiefs' offense was not as explosive. Like, Mahomes could barely hand off the ball. But the Jags offense just couldn't capitalize. There was, like, Jamal Agnew, I think his first name is Jamal, but Agnew had a run back where he almost scored a touchdown, but Butker, the kicker, was able to stop it. There was I don't remember if it was the same drive or a different drive, where they had, like, he caught the ball on, I think it was inside the 5, it was at least inside the 10, and then he fumbled it, and I didn't actually get to see any like close replays of it, but I was like, was that a catch and a fumble? Was that incomplete? I don't know. I'm genuinely not sure. I never really got a good look at it. I was like, the Chiefs got a big break for sure on the defensive play, possibly on the review as well. I'm not so sure, but Jags had opportunities, man. I think the next drive, Lawrence ended up throwing an interception. And it's like every time they have a chance, they just can't capitalize on it. And Kansas City was able to escape. They were able to survive. And yeah, that Mahomes injury was bad. Like, my dad is a passionate Chiefs fan. He was not happy when that happened, and I don't blame him at all. I sincerely hope the man is okay. Regardless of who I end up picking I'll go and say this. The health of Mahomes is what determines my pick for the Bengals game, which I guess spoilers that the Bengals won, but if you follow football, you already knew that the Bengals beat the Bills. That's going to be the big determination. If Mahomes is ready to go and able to play, I am going to take Kansas City. I'm not super confident in that pick because the Bengals are such a good team, but I am going to pick Kansas City. If he's not able to play, or if he's still like hobbling when doing handoffs, I mean, Cincinnati's going to maul them alive. Moving on to the next game, Giants and the Eagles. As I said, I was like, my heart is picking the Giants. This might be one of those crazy runs. And I also don't know how healthy the Eagles are right now. The Eagles are healthy. That's what happened. It was, okay, yeah, Lane Johnson is healthy. Jalen Hurts is healthy. That defense is healthy. Like, I remember a Sweat. I think his first name is Joshua? I could be wrong about that. But Sweat, I remember he was down in a cart in the New Orleans game. I was like, I have no idea if this guy's okay. Yeah, he was fine. He was playing. He was balling. That team is clicking on all cylinders. They did what they are supposed to do when healthy. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, there's no concerns here. They look fine. I feel stupid picking the Giants. There was something I had said in my... Sorry, my hair keeps getting in my face. Something I had said in my wildcard predictions is that, on the one hand, I want to say that the Giants have, like, overachieved. Like, they've been punching above their weight class all year. But when you actually look at the teams they've beaten, they haven't beaten a lot of good teams. So it's something I'm really interested in looking at, like, how they're going to do next year. Because now there'll actually be expectations. You went to the playoffs. You won a road game. You could not beat the Cowboys or the Eagles at all this year. Will you actually be able to do it? You need to be good enough to beat that team and that team. And you need to be good enough to consistently beat good teams. They played the Seahawks. They played the Lions. 2 teams with a winning record. Pretty sure they lost to both of them. Can they pull it off? I genuinely don't know, but I think Daboll's a really good coach. I don't know if he's my pick for Coach of the Year. I mean, Nick Sirianni, the 1 seed, the Eagles I feel like the Eagles overachieved. I thought they were going to be a good team. I did not think they were going to look as dominant as they have so far this season, but Kyle Shanahan, the number 2 seed, looking like one of the best teams in football, possibly the best team in football with 3 starting quarterbacks, that is not easy to do. Like, holy shit. I don't remember who the other guys were. It was Sean McDermott. I think there was one other coach nominated, but I don't remember who it is. But, anyways, like I said, we'll talk about NFL honors later. But Daboll he's definitely a good contender for being Coach of the Year. So overall, a good season. And I'm kind of saying for the Jags. Oh, Dougie P. I think that's the other contender for Coach of the Year. That's another good one. For me, it would probably come between those two. Overall, for the Giants and the Jags, kind of have the same thing to say. It was a year where they exceeded expectations. Good on them. They did a lot better than I was expecting. Let's see how it continues next year. Jags had a shit division, let's be honest. As someone from the NFC South who was worse, Jags won a terrible division. Let's see what they can do next year that they'll have to play better teams. They'll have to play the Bills. They'll have to play the Bengals. They'll have to play the Chiefs. I don't know who they'll be playing in the NFC. And then, kind of the same for the Giants. Well, I mean, they still finished 3rd in their division, so it's still an easier schedule, but you still got to play the Eagles twice, Cowboys twice. Well, we'll see how they do. Cincy and Buffalo. So, again, I said my head says Cincy, my heart says Buffalo, but either way, this is going to be a good game. I think this is going to be a really close game. That was incorrect. I don't think I actually said this in my prediction, but something that was kind of in my head was, if Damar Hamlin is in the stadium, Bills are going to dominate this game. And lo and behold, Damar Hamlin is in the stadium. They announced his presence. I think I heard he gave a speech before the game, but I'm not sure about that. The snow was falling, and this is Buffalo where it's cold, and they love the cold. I'm like, man, a playoff snow game in Buffalo with Damar Hamlin giving them a speech, a pregame hype speech. Bills are going to dominate. They didn't. They got their asses kicked. This, to me, was the Joe Burrow game I have been waiting for in the playoffs. What I love about watching Joe Burrow play is his poise and his swagger. You feel like this dude does not believe that he can lose, and it just seems like it rubs off on the team. And don't get me wrong, I love emotional players. I love seeing Josh Allen, get really hyped. I loved, when shit was going wrong, Stephon Diggs was kind of yelling at his team, trying to get everyone motivated, be like, guys, what the fuck are we doing? We're here to win. Let's go do that shit. I love that. But the fact that Burrow is just quiet and he rarely emotes on his face. He is just this stone cold assassin. It's so badass. This guy's fucking cool, man. I am a big Joe Burrow fan. I'm not a Bengals fan. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be man, I fucking hate the Bengals though. I'm no. I am a Saints fan. I am not trying to say, yeah, I'm converting to the Bengals right now, but I've got really no beef with them. I mean, they have Eli Apple. Do I want to see Eli Apple win a Super Bowl after the shit he was saying about the Saints? Hell no. But they have Trey Hendrickson and Von Bell, and I love those guys. Those guys were ballers when they played with the Saints. I was so sad when we let Von go. And then when Trey got let go, she was like, man, I know the D-line is good. We can't afford everyone, but he's so good. And then like, oh, look, they're kicking ass over here. What do you know? We should have kept them. But regardless, I like a lot of the players on the team. I just like their... So here's the really interesting thing. Last year, it felt like the Bengals were this kind of fluky team that, kind of got hot at the right time. A team that is good, believed they were good enough to beat anybody. I think their slogan was, why not us? And there was this, strong underdog vibe with the whole team. And that's not a thing anymore. It's like, this is not a fluky team or a fluky run. This team is good. The offensive line, which was supposed to suck, was bullying the Bills. The running game, the screen game, the passing game, the defense, all three phases, everything clicked. And so on the one hand, I'm like, I didn't really see Joe Burrow, take the team on his back because the whole team was clicking. But I felt like I am seeing him make, every throw that he is going... he missed, one... he had more than one incompletion. There was one in particular, near the goal line, where I was like, oh, okay, that was a pretty off throw, but they scored, 2 plays later, so it really didn't matter. He was killing it all game. I really hope Mahomes is healthy, because I want these teams to have a good, close game where both teams are at their best. If the Bengals win because of an injured Mahomes, I, as a football fan, am going to feel cheated of what could be an all-time matchup and an all-time great rivalry really budding. The Bengals are 3-0 against the Chiefs the last 2 seasons. And they are going into that game with a lot of moxie, a lot of pride. They're calling it it's not Arrowhead Stadium, that's Burrowhead Stadium because he's undefeated there. It's only been one game, but it was an AFC Championship. It was a big fucking game. He's undefeated there. We're 3-0 against the Chiefs. We are not scared of you. The underdog story isn't there anymore. It is all pride. It is all moxie. Pride cometh before a fall, but if you can back up your shit talking, it's not really pride anymore. It's just facts. And then there's the other side of the coin. Buffalo. I don't know what the fuck happened, man. They were just beaten. They were just outmatched. The defense could not get a stop. I know they got a couple, but they just could not get a stop when it mattered. The offense could not score. I remember, and this will kind of be my segue into the Cowboys-Niners game, saying Cowboys-Niners is going to be a game where the Niners win and are constantly ahead by a couple scores, and the Cowboys are able to keep it close enough to be interesting, but to never, the game is in reach, but they never really feel like they're in it because the defense will give up a big touchdown or the offense will just not be able to score for a couple drives. And I had said Bengals is going to be the one that's really close on the edge of your seat. And what do you know? They were reversed. So getting into the Cowboys-49ers game, this game comes down to 3 Cowboys interceptions. Dak threw a pick in his own territory, which led to a 49er field goal. Dak threw a pick within the red zone, which led to, which I don't remember what it actually led to that the 49ers did, but it took at least 3 off the board for Dallas. It was a second down play. Maybe they could have scored a touchdown. At least 3, maybe it took off 6. Maybe 7 if Maher would have made the kick. Who knows? And when the 49ers were in the red zone, Diggs dropped an interception, and a couple plays later, 49ers scored a touchdown. And in a game where you lost by 7, maybe that second Dak pick would have gotten you that 7. That Diggs pick would have prevented that 7. That's really what it comes down to. It was a close game. It was... What was that final drive by the Cowboys? Like, the 49ers did what I thought the 49ers would do. Oh, okay, not technically, because I thought they'd be a bit more dominant, but the Cowboys do also have a good defense. So it was like, here's a good defense and a good defense. Two solid offenses with some good weapons. Let's see what happens. And yeah, the defenses showed up and showed out, but the offenses were still able to do some shit. That's a good game. That's an enjoyable kind of amount. Or like score and flow and shit. What the fuck were those last couple plays by the Cowboys? The Dalton Schultz catch that wasn't. And not because, yeah, like they got screwed. Like, I will always say they got screwed on the Dez catch, 100%. That was, yeah, he just didn't get his foot down. And it wasn't even like, oh yeah, like it's super close. It's on like the sideline. Yeah, that's a hard catch to make, but man, you gotta make it. No, you had plenty of room. I'm pretty sure you're good at football, dude. Like, what? Like, why did you not put your other foot down? Like, it was so nonchalant. Like, I'm so lost. And then it took what would have been, because I think they would have been around the 40. They're like, all right, you got about a 60-yard Hail Mary. That's not easy, but it's doable. Like, he's got a chance to. All right, like, we're back at our own, like, 25. I think it was around the 25. With 6 seconds left, let's make a play. So, let's have one offensive lineman in front of Dak snapping the ball. Let's make that one offensive lineman Ezekiel Elliott. Let's put half the offensive line down here blocking for, who was it on the one? Because on the one side, it was some lineman and CeeDee Lamb. On the other side, I don't remember who it was. I don't remember if that's where they put Turpin, I think is his name, like the dude that's like their really good returner. Because he ended up catching the ball in the middle, so I don't remember if he was behind that one side of the O-line or if he was somewhere else. What it looked like they wanted to do was either A, quick pass to the outside, got some blockers in front, let's make a convoy, let's make a thing happen. Or I'm going to pass it to this guy in the middle of the field. He is then, and then when everyone's converging to him, he will pitch it to the other side where, I believe that was where CeeDee was. And then the offensive line is going to go down the field and block. CeeDee is going to go, and we're going to see what we can make happen. We'll hook and ladder as necessary. Instead, Zeke immediately explodes because he's getting rushed. Dak seems shocked that the 49ers are rushing him and made it past his one lineman who's not an offensive lineman. Throws the ball, guy catches it, immediately gets blown up, game over. It was so strange, so bizarre, it's so fucking funny to watch. Like, I will say this. I wanted the Cowboys to win because I wanted to see that final match against the Eagles. Both teams had beaten the other when the other starting QB was out. Now it is the NFC Championship rivalry game. Winner goes to the Super Bowl. You're healthy. You're healthy. May the best team win. That is hype. That is exciting. But the Cowboys losing is funny. And this is way funnier than last year. Like last year, I get the idea. They're not going to expect the run. We can get a good few yards. Dak slides, gives up the play. We have enough time to spike it, and we can get like one play into the end zone from where? Like the 25? Like from like just outside the red zone. Very doable. He ran a little too... I think if he had slid earlier, would have been fine. I don't remember how well the sideline was defended, so maybe he could have gotten out of bounds. Excuse me. It's like he slides a little bit earlier, you have more time. If they're not fighting with the official and like blocking the official from touching the ball, which he has to do first, they would have been able to spike it and run a final play. Like, it was just this crazy brain fart, and it was funny and really bizarre. This year is so much funnier and so much more bizarre. I don't know if we've gotten an official statement about what the hell they were trying to do on that final play. I would love to hear it. I really would, but what an experience that final play was. So, moving on to what is going to happen this weekend. Niners at the Eagles. Bengals at the Chiefs. Niners, Eagles. These are two teams that have good running games, great receiving cores, and great defenses. This is going to be a fun game, and I'm not going to be able to watch it because I'm going to be, like I had said in my previous video, I'm going to be in New Orleans over the weekend. We're going to be driving, so I'm going to be in the car during the Eagles-Niners game. This sounds like a fun game where, like, I feel like it'll have a similar score to Cowboys-Niners. It'll be something like 25-18. Like, I don't know those. I don't even know how the fuck you would get 25. Like, that's such a weird number. But I feel like you'll get something around there where it's not like ridiculously high scoring. But I feel like, no, these are two really good offenses. They are going to make some shit happen. But these defenses are really good too. And they are going to feast on the quarterbacks. But Jalen Hurts is very mobile. Brock Purdy is, I think he's like, sorry, I just heard a siren. I don't know if that was like an ambulance or a cop or whatever. Anyways, I was getting louder, it's getting closer. It's not the ice cream truck this time. Anyways, what was I saying? I don't think Brock Purdy is nearly that mobile. He's been playing well. He's been able to, like, very efficiently lead the offense, but I've got Philly. I think Philly goes on to the Super Bowl. And like I was saying earlier, Bengals-Chiefs. Like, a couple days ago, I was just kind of thinking, Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl, aren't they? Like, I don't know who stops them. And then as I was kind of writing down my notes, or like looking over my notes today, I was like, man, Kansas City's going to win this game, though, aren't they? If Mahomes is healthy. Because I was thinking about just the storyline, which is what I love about the NFL. Last year was the Chiefs were arrogant. They were cocky. And who wouldn't be? Here is this good but fluky team coming into your house after that crazy divisional game against Buffalo, where you were down 3 with 13 seconds to go, and you managed to tie the game, get the ball back, and then in overtime march down the field and send them home. One of the most fun, entertaining games I had ever seen. Why wouldn't you feel that way? And then they just lost. They weren't like humiliated or embarrassed. Like, it was an overtime loss, but they were up, 18 points at halftime? They were up, it was 21-3. They had a chance to, I guess time was running down. They went for it. They went to get a touchdown instead of the field goal. Didn't get in. Kicked the field goal. Game doesn't go into OT. At the end of the game, they're driving down the field. Have a chance to score a touchdown. If they do, they win. Have to settle for 3. It was, again, not embarrassed, not humiliated, but did not live up to their own expectations. And the Bengals lived up to theirs, which is the why not us? We can beat anybody. We beat y'all earlier. We'll do it again. We're not scared of you. This year, though, the Bengals don't have that underdog moniker anymore. They're the reigning AFC champions. They started 0-2, didn't look that great, and they've, won 10 straight games or some shit? It's kind of crazy. They've been undefeated since Halloween. That's 4 games in November, 4 games in December, and then 2 playoff games, and I don't know, maybe 1 more, maybe 2 more in January. They look great. They look fantastic. There's no underdog story anymore. They're just good. Now they are the ones being arrogant, actively talking shit. This is Burrowhead. We're not scared of you. We're going into your house again to kick your hobbled ass. And I think the Chiefs get revenge. Because I think now they don't look past the Bengals. They don't underestimate them. If Mahomes is injured, and he's still not playing, he's still super hobbled, Bengals probably win, but maybe the Chiefs pull it off. If he's not playing, Bengals win. But if Mahomes is able to play like he's healthy, I think the Chiefs win. Now, I don't think either team slays. I think it's a close game. But I feel like kind of like the game last year, I don't think it's going to be like, oh yeah, the Chiefs are super up and then the Bengals come back. I think it's going to be close, and the Chiefs are able to overcome a fourth quarter deficit and go on to play the Eagles. That's my prediction. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I mean, that's the end of the video. That's my prediction. So in the Super Bowl right now, I have both 1 seeds. I've got the Chiefs and I got the Eagles.